Hey everyone, hope you're well. Here we are at Imola for another race in the GTEs. It's a real banger for you today and I hope you enjoy it, and if you do, please consider liking and subscribing to keep up to date with my channel. We're starting P7, the leader is in our lane just up the road and I do struggle to see him get off the line, but we're not too bad. Gonna have a car alongside to my right, so I'm just gonna stay to the left, which is where I want to be anyway. Just gives me a lots of space to my front as we're coming into turn one. Watching the cars in front and just finding my place amongst them, leaving space for the guy around the outside, but he backs out of it. And as we come through here, we have our first incident. That's one car, two cars coming across in front of me, just about avoid that second guy, and that puts us up 2 positions already, now P5, and we're barely into the start of this race. Let's see if we can make up any more as they're starting to get a bit racy in front of us. I've been watching this blue Ferrari since the start, and I'm also having to be a bit careful. The tyres are not exactly cold, but you do feel the difference on the first lap with these GTEs because they do have a lot of power behind them compared to the normal GT3s. That's put me a bit further behind and I'm losing track, but these guys in front are still getting very racy. I'm expecting this Red Bull Ferrari is going to be doing a lot to try and get past the guy in front of him, and there it is. He's forcing his way to the inside, coming up to this chicane. I'm going to back out a little bit early and the Red Bull just takes a position, managing to hold it over those deadly curbs. He runs wide for his trouble, but he's not going to get any sort of slowdown for it. Now it's my turn as I'm coming down to a corner I'm very confident with on the brakes in the Porsche, down the inside on this black Ferrari, leaving him space, but there's a little bit of contact, and again space for him on the outside, holding it tight and then getting on the power because we're now coming onto this long straight towards the start finish line. I've got no slipstream from the cars in front and the guy behind's got everything from me, but he's just going to push us for now, which is a nice thing to do in the early stages of this race where we both just want to extend from the cars behind us. And he's also going to get a little bit of an attack from that Porsche that looked to his inside, but he's held it and we're now able to start pushing on. Looking back, this was the incident on lap 1. This is the leader in that BMW who's going to lose the rear coming through that first sector, and he's soon joined by the car that was in P2, who then spears back across the track right in front of me, which is why I had to take that evasive action. Then this was the move down into the penultimate corner. Not as clean as I would have hoped since I did knock him out, but we both made it through at least. Back to us still on lap 2, and we're now going to start catching up to this Red Bull Ferrari very quickly as he has a big moment coming out of Tosa, putting me right behind him. And I'm now going to see what we can do through this infield section, because I was judging that he was probably running a bit of a lower wing. The Ferraris are renowned for being some of the fastest GTEs in a straight line, but then tend to also be a bit leery, especially through these sort of twisty in sections like this guy's doing in front of us. So I'm having to leave a little bit of space. I feel he's definitely driving on the edge of adhesion, which could lead to an incident and take me along with him. We're coming up to the weakest part for me now. This chicane, I was really cautious through here just because there was a few times in my practice I just lost the car completely going through there, and you can see the time that cost me where he's starting to pull away from us now. And though we're coming into my strongest sector, these last 2 corners, which is going to be useful in the race itself because I will have opportunities to be close to people, especially on this last corner coming onto the start finish line where I'm going to have all the slipstream in the world. But he too does have the slipstream of the cars in front of me, and he also definitely has less wing because you can see I'm just not gaining on him, and in fact he may even be pulling away slowly. All I can try and do is just stay nice and close to him as we come into turn 1, start using my strengths, especially now I can see the Porsche in front of us went a bit deep into that first corner and that's cost him time, and now the Ferrari is right up on him, looking to the inside into this twisty dangerous complex, and they are banging doors twice now as they're now coming towards the hairpin. The Ferrari moves to the right. I think I have the inside, but then he's suddenly back in front of me, sending it down the inside. There's contact with the Porsche who's turned around, and oh my, that was not a good look for him. This guy was really all over the place, trying to attack, trying to defend, and it was just all too much for his brain, because you can see he just completely misses the braking mark, just tries to get to the inside of the corner, but that Porsche is still there, and he just shoves him wide. I followed him through the rest of that lap, and now without the slipstream, I was slowly gaining on him, but now it's my turn for the big mistake, because coming into turn one, I jabbed the brake, locking up, and I'm nearly into the back of him, taking us both out there. Thankfully, I'm able to get the car back under control and avoid him as he was turning in for the corner, thankfully. But that now means I've got to take the long trek across the sand, losing so many positions before I can safely rejoin the track. And not only have I lost those positions, I'm now immediately under attack from Vlad behind us, who was P1 in that BMW, and he's certainly trying to make up the positions, because coming into Tosa, he's going to look to the inside on me, and I've gathered my senses enough, thankfully, to leave him the space on the inside, carrying it round, which the Porsche is really good at doing, and it's at least going to hold him at bay for now. But he is still right behind me, keeping the pressure on into this next corner. But I'm finally going to get enough space to breathe and think about how I'm going to start making back these places I just lost. And whilst I'm looking ahead at this Porsche as I'm closing up on them, there's that Ferrari from earlier. He's gone off to the left-hand side and he's spinning about, trying to get himself going again. But now Vlad is back on me into the chicane. I brake a little bit later, trying to be braver through here. And I don't get the best sort of exit, because now Vlad is pulling alongside me, which is not what I wanted if I was going to try and catch back up to this Porsche in front of us. Planning ahead, I brake it late here because I know I'm going to be carrying speed around the outside. There's Vlad, and I'm trying to extend the track as much as possible. We just about make it around the outside using the drive out of the corner. We're going to pull ahead of Vlad and use the slipstream of that Porsche in front of us, but you can see Vlad is not happy with what I've just done to defend, and he's definitely going to be looking to attack into this first corner. So I'm going to go fully on the defensive, give him no quarter, and just focus on getting through this first part. You can see he's moving around behind us, trying to set up for the better exit, but I hold him at bay at least for now, and I can start focusing on this next car in front of us. As we're coming into this section, I can really close up on them. Jesus in front is only a bit lower in iRacing, so he's actually quite slow into Tosa, really closing up behind him, and that's giving Vlad another opportunity. As I'm slow off the corner, he's going to start looking to the inside, but I make my move early whilst I'm still able to and get around the corner, but I'm not on the best on the exit once again. But I'm coming into this part where I am definitely at my strongest, so I don't have to worry about him trying to carry it around the outside, so it would be very difficult. And now I've finally got the run on that Porsche in front of us coming into the chicane, but this is again not going to be the best. I try and brake late, get to that first apex, but they carried it around the second one, but they're then slow, and there's contact as Vlad drives into the back of us, not expecting me to be so slow. Jesus tried his best just to defend through there, but you can see that really messed him up on the exit, and I got caught out, and Vlad got even more caught out as I was so slow getting on the power. Thankfully, it was just the 4X and no major damage for us. And for that trouble, Vlad has now lost the position to another Porsche behind us. But now more than ever, I see I have to get past this guy in front. He's just slowing me up and not letting me get away from Vlad, who's biting at my heels. Thankfully, we've got a good exit now coming onto this long start-finish straight, and we have all the slipstream in the wall tucked in right behind him. We also seem to have less wing, because you can see how fast we're coming up on him alongside now before we're even at turn one, hoping he might back out. And there it is, he brakes early, so I've moved back across, taking the racing line, minimizing the speed loss through this first sector, which is crucial, and that puts us up to P6. But we're going to get another freebie here, because that's a Ferrari off to the left hand side, and we're now P5 after that explosive lap. With all that done and now having the free air in front of me, I got to work very quickly, catching up to the next group of cars because I could waste no time. Though we do have 30 minutes in this race, I knew these guys would start pulling away as the fuel burns off and the lap times improve, so I had to act fast. I'm now in the slipstream of the guy in front who's in the Corvette. A lovely car, certainly good here, but the Porsche is just so agile. It's really good at changing directions, which really helps through these first sector at Imola, where you've got so many left-right corners. I'm a little sketchy through that last one though, having a little bit of a lift just because the bum goes very light. But again, through this sector, nice and fast here, getting the direction change done, and I'm just clawing all that time back to the guy in front of me, who was then slow on the entry into Tosa. Look how much I'm closing up. I'm having a look underneath the wing at what he's got written there. I'm going to waste no time now to get past him because I can see he's a bit slow through this part. So I'm going to show my nose here, brake late, aim to get onto the curbing, give him space just in case he tries to hold it out. But he does a sensible thing there and just backs off. That's going to work in my favor as well because we're on board with Vlad, who is still chasing me, and he's now got to deal with this Corvette that I've just gotten past, and they're still struggling as into Acqua Minerale they are quite slow again. Vlad gets caught out by this and they give them a love tap like he did to me earlier. And a few more laps later we caught up to P3. He was just behind P2 and P1 was a bit further down the road. You can just see them in the distance there. They may be out of this battle, but I've still felt at this stage a P2 could be on the cards, but this guy in front is really good. We're going to have a tough time on our hands getting past him, especially for the fact that we do have some differences in our setups. You can see I didn't really gain any time on him on the straight, so he may be running less downforce than me. So I've got it all to work for here through the infield where there's all these corners, that the extra downforce I'm using will come in handy. I'm going to have to really push it through these corners. Thankfully the Porsche was decent enough over the curbing so I could try and use all the track width possible, which is really important at Imola, especially into Tosa, to get that good exit. And we're closing the distance up slowly but surely. If you can see, this guy is very much on it, using what he has got available to him with that setup's downforce. These cars also don't really run as much downforce as the GT3s do. They're all about the mechanical grip, which does come into effect more in this kind of section. But you can see as we're coming into Acqua Minerale, this is my strongest part, just having the confidence in the car to get all those changes to direction done whilst I'm on the brakes. But now this is into my weakest part with the chicane. I'm going to lose a lot of time coming through here just because I don't have the confidence, and that's the difference it makes here. As you can see now, he's going to pull a distance on me and I get an off track. I'm already up to 7x because of all those previous off tracks and going off over the sand, so that's not going to do well for my SR. But at least again, this is another confident part for me into the penultimate corner, really good on the brake and then getting that exit, so I'm that bit closer to him, trying to get as much slipstream as possible, but it just not enough gain on him. And it was the same for the next few laps. P2 was always just close enough for him in order to get that little bit of slipstream. It was only up until lap 14 where we're going to have an incident with P2. Watch them in front of us, they start turning left and then just forget that they need to turn right for the next part of the corner, so they're off into the barrier. No real change from me and the guy in front, but that was very unfortunate for P2. We'll have a look on board with them because I suspect they had a bit of an oversteer moment, and you can see they're trying to counter steer. It's just not enough to save them in time before the barrier. Back to me though, and we're going to see what difference this makes on the fight for what is now P2 after that event. Once again, focus on the exit, try and be as close as possible as I'm on the power. Only 2 temps between us and he does not have any slipstream to help him along this time, whereas I've got all the advantages and I'm going to try and use them, because you can see even with that slipstream I'm only slowly gaining on him, and surprisingly he's not going to defend the inside, so this is all on me now to get into this inside gap. I'm still going to leave the space for him, but he's actually gone very deep in that first part over the curbing. Really didn't expect him to not defend this one. He might have just been trying to play it smart, knowing I could be faster through this section, but he's still gone too deep. And Vlad, who has been with us this entire time trying to make back his own places, is going to capitalize on it by trying to pressure this guy, but he's going to come a cropper for it as he's losing the rear through this right hand corner, just about keeping the car on the track, but he's going going to lose yet more places for his trouble. Eventually, I got into the pit stop I needed to make, and on my way out, P1 is going to come past us here because they pitted a lap earlier, and I now had everything to work for. But unfortunately, my weakest corner was going to come back and bite me, because coming into the chicane, I try and carry a bit too much speed, just trying to bridge that gap a little bit more, and I nearly throw it all the way in doing so, thankfully keeping it out of the barrier. But that was a big scare. I was only 2 tenths away from him at this stage. I was really being a bit too reckless, pushing in what was my weakest part of the track. I should have been a bit more patient, because I was bringing that lap time down little by little, and unfortunately I ran out of time. But we're still going to come across the line not that far behind him in the end, and finish in P2, which I'm going to be happy with, considering the big mistake I made and spending all that time going across the sand, costing me the places. But I did really enjoy fighting my way back up, having some really good battles and having to defend against Vlad, who certainly had the pace and the aggression, but was racing me fairly. That's something this GTE series really has in spades. You have some great battles with some very respectful drivers here, and I love coming back to these cars every single time. I hope you have all enjoyed today's race. If you did, please give a like and subscribe, because that helps me so much on the channel, and I'll see you all again next time.